back to another video. I am Rosalind Ukic. If you have never been here before, I am a second generation homeschool mom living in Croatia. And today I am sharing with you why I chose to stop using Story of the World. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to say this is nothing against Story of the World. I have no real big issues with the curriculum. I am going to be sharing a couple of drawbacks that I sort of found with Story of the World and why we chose to stop using it and what we decided to use instead. So at the beginning of this school year, I was so excited to start the second book of the Story of the World. Last year we did Story of the World book 1, which was ancient history, and my kids really loved it. They loved doing the mapping. They really enjoyed the stories. And we have a huge map and we have a globe, and so we had a lot of fun learning geography and finding where these different countries were on the globe and on the map. And so I was super looking forward to this year's Story of the World because it was going to be delving in to the Middle Ages, and that is my personal favorite era of history. And so I was really looking forward to it. And if you go back to a video that I did where I was talking about all of the curriculum that we're going to be using for this year, you will see that I was super excited about that. And so I actually went and I printed out the entire teacher's manual, and I went and I printed out the boys' activity books and all of that. So there was a massive amount of printing. I mean, you see how much paper that was used, and this was just my book. This was not their activity books included. It was a lot of printing. I was just that committed to doing this curriculum this year. And we got somewhere, we got to the end of the first semester, and I was feeling a little bit less excited. As a matter of fact, I found myself avoiding doing history with the boys, which was a little strange for me because I was just so excited going into it. But I would find myself, just if we didn't have time that day, would just, leave off the history and do something else. And so when we went into the Christmas break and I began asking my children, what is it, that they were not liking so much about school, because I could tell that even my third grader, who generally loves school, was super excited to be on the Christmas break, which is, I guess, normal. But last year he was so mad. He did not want to do Christmas break. He was mad every single day and was counting the days back to going to school. And this time it wasn't that way. And so I began doing a little bit of investigation with them and discovered that they were finding that it was really boring. And they just weren't enjoying the stories. With the Story of the World, you get a story of the history. So they tell you, what events were happening at this time in history in, these different countries, what was going on and how things were being developed and all of that. And then generally speaking, they will pick a story. They will write a fictional story about a fictional character. Usually it involves a child, right about maybe their age, and what they, perhaps were doing at that point in history. While the Story of the World goes into a lot of detail in history, I felt like there was so much being left out. And I didn't feel like there was enough room to do other things that I wanted to connect with history, like music and art. There was so much more art that I wanted to do, and there was so much with music that I wanted to do. With my own music background, I really felt like this was a huge element that was being left out. And it's nothing really to do with the curriculum in and of itself. I just felt like there was so much time taken to do the reading that I really didn't have enough time to do other supplemental things. And I had tried doing several different ways of school. And so in one of my previous videos, you'll see that I talked about how we went with block scheduling halfway through the first semester of this year. and how much I was loving the block scheduling, because it really did give us more time to do more things, but it still wasn't enough for me, because in order to get through the story of the world, I had to do several different lessons in one day. I had to do 3 lessons in a day, and that still didn't leave me the time that I wanted to be able to do other supplemental things such as music and art. And so that was, as I sat down and I talked with them, and I could see that they were not enjoying the activities. They really were bored with the mapping, because it was a second year of doing the exact same thing that we were doing last year. And they weren't really connecting with the stories. They just weren't connecting with it all the way around. And so that was when I decided that we were just going to switch over everything to easy peasy. And as I began to look through the level of, the ancient history, so with easy peasy, level 1, which is ancient history, it was going to take us through this year of the story of the world. And it does a 4-level, a 4-tiered level, just like story of the world does. But each level actually spans a longer span in history. So my initial feeling was, I'm just afraid that we aren't going to, be able to delve as deeply into it as we wanted to. But then I saw how short the lessons were, and so I realized, well, if I want to dig down deeper, I actually have a lot of time to be able to do that, because it is shorter, it's simpler, and so there's a lot more time to supplement if we wanted to supplement. And I knew, well, I do have my story of the world here, so I can always use that to supplement if I want to. I have other history curriculums upstairs, that I could always borrow from if I wanted to start a supplement. So there was a lot of, options that I had for supplemental materials. But as I got into it, I began looking through the lessons and where we would pick up, with where we left off a story of the world. I realized easy peasy, as easy as it is, as simple as it is, it was actually digging deeper into history than we had dug in before. And I realized there was so much that we had missed that we didn't dig into, and there were a lot of projects that were given in this material that would have allowed us to explore last year in ways that we didn't. So what did I do? I decided to go back. We're actually repeating ancient history right now, but we're going faster. So we're taking several different lessons. We started off actually taking several lessons a day and doing that every single day, because we were able to breeze over some things that we had gone over last year and that they remembered. But then that also gave us an opportunity to do some fun projects that we missed last year that I felt really solidified that information that they got last year. And so here we are in the last week of February. So we've been doing this now for maybe like 6-7 weeks, and we are up into India. So we just wrapped up the Maya civilization last week, and that was on the heels of studying Babylon. And that era of history. And we're going to be very soon going into Greece. And so we're actually going to be, and following Greece, we're going to be coming up to the Roman Empire, and that we will actually be able to breeze through the Roman Empire, because the story of the world actually focused a lot on the Roman Empire, and my children really connected with that era in history last year as we went over the Roman Empire. It was this year, the very beginning of the 2021-22 school year, that we actually just briefly reviewed the fall of the Roman Empire, and then we were going on, and that's kind of where things were picking up this year. And so we should be there probably about the end of March, and then we will pick up the rest, and then we will end level 1 of history with Easy Peasy. But with that, Easy Peasy does have a music program that runs parallel to what you're studying in history, and so you're able to get an idea. It's really like music appreciation, and so you know, we've listened to some Chinese music, and we've listened to some, you know, Mayan instruments from the Mayan civilization. And so we've been able to, you know, insert some music in there and art in there. And so not only does their history program include art projects, but then you have a different art program that that connects also with history. My children are enjoying it so much. They're connecting so much more to history. And then I have the time to be able to supplement other things. So we can, you know, look at documentaries, or we can watch a movie, or, you know, we can grab other books, so we can do different read alouds and things that go along, because there isn't so much actual reading material that we are using with the Easy Peasy. It allows us to hit all of that information from different types of media. So visual media and audio media, and them actually reading and doing art, and you know, acting it out. And so all different kinds of ways of connecting with the material that they're being presented with, because it really helps to just solidify that in them, helps them to remember it so much better. And so that is why I discontinued using Story of the World. Like I said, it really isn't any really big complaints that I have with Story of the World. I know that a lot of homeschool parents love it, and they are, you know, they've done all of the levels and they just are super satisfied with it. I was a little bit more satisfied with it last year, a little less impressed this year. And, you know, some of the issues that I even had last year, I just found were just more pronounced for me this year. But overall, my children just did not connect with it. And so we went with something that they do. So have you used Story of the World? Did your children enjoy it? What did you like about it? What maybe were some drawbacks for you with the Story of the World? What are you doing for history? Are you supplementing with other stuff, or are you just using what you have in your own curriculum? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.